Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Smith in the Black VTF here, T3 Live with this week's market wrap up. And let's go launching towards the highs, shall we? SPY, Brexit all gone and ripping into the highs off the jobless number, and certainly a thing of beauty. But we'll get back to that in a second. Let's go back to our old buddy that didn't usually look at, but now just with the old Brexit, the good old pound and the pound dollar here anyway. And remember, we're looking at that weekly. We said here, ready, broadening formation, high, high, lower, low, higher, high, lower, low, then down, and then if you go to the daily, you're going to see this: the down, sideways, inside day, trying to go for the measured move. And so this morning, when things got a little wild, if you go down to the 15er, you're going to see this kind of stuff, all right? And so when I talk about broadening formations, if you don't believe it after I'm done with this, I can't help you. So you can see how this goes: higher high, lower low, inside, then all the way up, then all the way down, then inside 15-minute bar, up, inside 15-minute bar, and then back down. So as it's trying to do this price discovery, I'm going up, no, I'm going down, no, I'm going up, no, I'm going down, no, I'm going up, and nobody wins, comes back in the middle, which causes it to go inside in a longer term time frame. That's going to be your inside day here. Anyway, if we take a look at the SPY, Gee, it did it again. Higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low, bam, back up to the highs. Thing of beauty, and what we had today, when you have guys seeing things go in the highs and be like, I want to short it, I want to short it. One of the things I talk about is called a simultaneous break. And what that means is price price uh, is driven by actionable signals, and by that I mean equilibriums of inside bars, stuff like hammers and stuff like that. And so when we take those, combine all of that stuff statistically, and say how many stocks are trading above an inside month or an inside week or an inside day when we're up in here, almost everybody. And so at that point, there's almost no way this market's going down, at least for today. And so anybody's trying to just try and shave shorts off the SPY, that was a bad move. That's not what you want to be doing. Simultaneous break, inside days to the upside, inside weeks to the upside, inside months to the upside. It's almost 90+% on that. And so when you do that, the thing is that you're basically watching a football game that's 70-0 and saying these guys are going to, I bet this guy's going to kick a field goal and make it 70-3. Who cares? Basically, this thing was just an all-day rip fest, and there were so many things to go after, and I'm going to get to a few things here. I wanted to talk about TLT for just a second. People are like, how come bonds and stocks are going up at the same time? And I was like, well, basically at this point, it's more of the bonds going out being a competition for the global bond market than it is for the United States stock market. And so that's pretty much what's going on. TLT, cats and dogs running together. But that's probably, my best assumption. I don't care. I just trade things that are going up and buy and sell things that are going down. Anyway, speaking of shorting, so if you're looking at the SPY doing this and you want to try and get some short, the first thing you want to do is look for anybody that was taking out yesterday's lows, because they should have no business doing that. And so one of the reasons you do that is technical mechanics and psychology, right? If you went home long something yesterday, you got what you wanted. You got the gap up and go and off to the races, right? But if your stock is not participating and it's going down, you're gonna have to make a decision, especially if you got a problem. So kite right out the chute. There was a nice problem there, taking all this stuff out. Now, it came back a little, but it gave plenty of room on the downside if you wanted to go after it here off the inside 15, cratered down into here. That was nice. And then it works its way back up, and strong markets will bring a lot of things back. Juno with that, and I wanted to point out this formation here because it was very important on the upside, but also here in the downside. It's called a momentum shooting star. And what that means is it opened, fell apart. There was actually an inside 5 to get short up in here, but it fell apart. And so here you got your short covering, and it comes back down. And anybody who's trying to bottom pick this thing, guess where the stops are? Right here, right here. And because it's down on all time frames, the monthly is red, the weekly is red, the daily is red, and your 60 is red, and turning back red down in here, there's no reason to believe this thing's not going to go back down the downside. Right? You have full time frame counting to the downside, which means every participation group, the monthly group, the weekly group, the daily group, the 60 group, is a seller. And anybody who's trying to buy this thing, their stops are going right here and right here. They telegraph those all day long. So what you have is a combination of people getting stopped out on the wrong side and real sellers in there. At that point, there's no reason to believe it's not going down, and it certainly did. That was nice. So when talk about not everybody's comfortable when things take off like this. How do you get involved in something when the SPY going up like this? And so there's certain things that we want to look for, those actionable signals and combinations. And so I was explaining some Amgen to some people today. So Amgen, like many, many things, when inside day to the upside and it just starts going gangbusters, right? Full time frame continuity to the upside with all those time frames going up. However, right on the opening, it did this. Let's go back a ways. Right on opening, it did this. It opens, pukes, and comes back and tries to go south. Right? And so what that means is there was some instantaneous profit taking, thinking that the market might just gap and reverse or whatever the fear it was. But that blew out a lot of longs. Right here, they're gone. Now as it moved back up, anybody who gets short in this thing is betting this thing's going to roll back down. All right? However, when it doesn't, it goes inside on the 15-minute here. As it takes that inside 15-minute bar, that's an equilibrium. Couldn't make a higher high, couldn't make a lower low. We can expect stops to be on the high there and there. And when it does it, it reconfirms the inside day break here, which is multiple actionable signals. Two equilibriums being broken, the daily and the 15. At that time, it's higher than it opened for the month. It's higher than it opened for the week. It's higher than it opened for the day and has an actionable signal. It's got an actionable signal on the 15 here. There's no reason to believe it's going down. Now, when I showed those momentum shooters, when you see a market this strong with a simultaneous break, we're looking for stuff like that all day long. And so Amgen, after it did that on a 30-minute basis, here, momentum hammer on the highs. Right? And so a lot of people are classically trained to think only look for hammers on the lows. That's not true, because when it comes up in here, like I said, anybody got short in this here, the stops are going right here. They're screwed. Right? And because it has full time frame continuity to the upside, we know there's natural buyers in there on every single time frame. You combine shorts that are screwed and natural buyers, and you get a bar like that. And so that's what we were looking for all day long. And so when I talk about Amgen, a lot of people say, hey, IBB, what about IBB? And IBB did have a nice move. It's just a little more challenged because it's this monthly is still in the middle of all this stuff. And so it doesn't mean it can't keep going. It's been more case by case basis. But if you're looking at something like that, then you look at XLV. Much better, all right? And so you might want to consider, changing up your game a little bit. If you're staring at IBB all day, it's been more case-by-case basis than it has been the IBB. And certainly if you're going to look at something broader, you can go XLV has been doing a lot better there. So the question is, how do we keep going, all right, after the SPY? Really, how many times have we seen this trick, all right? Higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low. Do it up in here, boom, 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 boom. Because you'll have guys saying, "Oh, I said we were going higher," and I'm like, "Sure, everybody says that." The question is, can you stay long during this? Probably not, right? It's how do things get places, and that's what they do. They'll test both sides. So the question is, what are we going to do to keep moving higher here? Right now we've triangled all this stuff, and now we're in wide open spaces. Some people like to say that when you're in the new highs or there's no resistance levels that you can see. What that means is we don't know. And you have to break it down to the internal. So for coming into next week, what do we know to be true that we're going to have to be aware of? We're going to have to be aware of crude oil, for one, because we've been following crude, or supposedly, but now we diverged from that on this rally. Here, crude going down, market going up. So you can see this slight lower low down in here. So the question is, can it hold this outside bar recovery and come back and challenge all this stuff, which is still a pretty nice move up into here, or does it roll back down and fall apart? Because obviously the S&P is made up of some mineral stocks, and so if you go to OIH, what you're going to see here, so OIH goes inside. Inside week for OIH, right? And so that's going to tell a few tales as far as whether we're going to get some oil help in the. It's also inside day, some energy name help for the S&P, or is that going to hurt us? You can have Slob inside week, Halliburton, HP. So we want to keep an eye on all that, and even some big boys like Apache and Conoco and XEC and XLE, XOP, all that stuff was inside day today. So we want to see, are we going to get helped or hindered by that? As well as we got earnings coming out, and we've got inside weeks in a lot of the financials. So you go, FAS does this. How does FAS get out of this? Can it triangle all the way back and take this out? Here, like so. Are we just coming off of this? This is going to help us. Didn't quite stay inside week, but you did have an inside week for Citicorp. You had it for Bank of America. You had it for JP Morgan. Oops. JP Morgan. You got a Visa, MetLife. So all these financials, and Earl's certainly going to tell a few tales there themselves. And once again, if you're watching the financials, say these things are pigs. It's like what you want to do is break it down into subsectors, because if you looked at the insurance names, like Chubb, boom, inside week near the high. You got Aon, inside week near the high. You got Travelers, inside week near the high. So basically, you just want to look around at the subsectors and see if there's anybody outperforming. Those certainly have, and they're inside weeks. As far as tech's concerned, just a couple names. You can look at AVGO. You can look at inside weeks there, NXPI. So there's some more equilibriums that got to break. And certainly want to see if the gold continues. How is gold going to continue to act? Another good week for gold so far. It finished off a nuggy. Giddy up, off to the races there. But XME, you recall, is now inside month and up after this sideways consolidation. Remember, gangbusters are early in the year, corrective activity inside month, and now starting to go again. And that could certainly help, because you got inside weeks for FCX, and to see if that can keep going. Letter X is breaking inside month to the upside. So, and if you can get this up sideways, inside measured move of this move out of here, that could be pretty good. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as well. Another thing we want to watch is the small cappers. Small cappers here, remember, nowhere near the highs, and trying to break this series of lower highs. Tried to do it last month, and now it's starting to come up on this stuff. So we want to see how these small cappers act as well, for the health of the whole U.S. market. Transports, still an inside month, but another group that could help with the oil coming down. Maybe you got your wipeout down here. You inside data called the low, and try and go back up in here 8,000, and you can look at something like United Airlines that goes side by side 2 week in a row, hammer, hammer, hammer off the lows. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Just a couple other weeklies to keep an eye on. You got burritos sitting there, corpse. Inside weekly got 4 weeks of sitting there doing nothing. So the question is it going to go down, sideways measured move, or is it going to go down, sideways and recover? Wynn Resorts, you got an inside week there, and it's still trying to hold all this business. Is it down, sideways measured move of this, or recover? And maybe a little Baidu right there, an inside week there too. So certainly a lot to keep an eye on. What I do on the weekends, I make a weekend video. I post it in the VTF at T3 Live. I put it on Twitter at Robin the Black. I also put it on my YouTube. That's Smiths in the Black, all one word. Please watch that at your leisure. There's a lot more information there than I can spew out right here. But you got a pretty good idea of what we're looking at, what went down. And I hope that all that helps. Hope you had a great week. It's summertime. Everybody have a great, safe weekend. I'm Rob Smith in the Black VTF here at T3 Live with this week's Market Wrap-Up.